Welcome viewers to ReachIvy's webinar series where we talk to admissions managers from top schools around the world. My name is Suman. I'm a senior counselor at ReachIvy. At ReachIvy, we provide a boutique of services for admissions and careers as well, and basically help you to get into top schools around the world or the jobs of your choice. Today we have with us who is the admissions and marketing manager at China Europe International Business School, or CEIBS. She's joining us from Shanghai, and we are very excited to hear more from her. So without further ado, I welcome Christina. I invite her to tell us a little about herself, and then we will jump into questions that we have collected from the many years of experience working with a lot of students. So over to Christina.
Hi, Suman. So just a little introduction about myself. I am currently, like Suman introduced, I'm currently the marketing and admissions manager here at China Europe International Business School. And on top of that, I'm actually also an alumni. I graduated from 2016, so it's just a year and a half ago. Definitely be hearing a lot of the newest update and then the newest in terms of reports, data, and what are the curriculum happening right now. Okay.
Sure, yeah, that sounds great. And it's good to hear that you'll be able to tell us what's the latest happening at the campus.
Exactly.
Great. So just to begin with, so usually we do a lot of seminars with top schools, and as you would know, most of them are somehow in the US and in Europe,
yes,
and other parts of Asia. So I think our viewers are very curious to learn a little bit about the background of CEIBS. Everything, including probably the history, what's the school, what does the school stand for, and also the different locations and offerings.
I think actually that's a great starting point. Another way to actually dive into this is to actually also share about my decision journey of why I picked CEIBS. So basically, I had the chance to study in the States for my undergrad, of course. But luckily, I had a job. The job opportunity took me to Shanghai. So prior to my decision for MBA investment, I was living and working in Shanghai for 4 years. Unavoidably, I was immediately amazed by how fast and how diverse this country, how everything is changing, how the consumer are adapting to new ideas, technology changes every day. So when it was time for me to pick an MBA program, I made a decision. I'm going to go by something more practical. I didn't need that brand. So they from the States were from Europe. So once you lock down that region and then you run the search, you definitely see, although CEIBS is like 23 years old, it started in 1995 with the China government. But the thing is, it's actually the longest MBA in China. So therefore, it has accumulated the largest amount of resources in terms of alumni, okay? So this is what the beginning of the CEIBS. And for me, it was actually interesting because talk about having roots here in China. I think definitely in terms of alumni and in terms of how close the school is to the marketplace. What I mean by is China, the company, despite multinational companies who are trying to tap in the China market, or a lot now what we see, the China company trying to go abroad. So this is something I really like about CEIBS' mission. If you always talk about mission statement, we always tell our student it's definitely China focused, China depth, and then global breadth. I would say from the beginning 10 years, CEIBS is a hub that multinational companies come to find talent to develop their market in China. Okay, this is a hub to groom the talents for multinational. But in the recent 10 years, you can see more and more Chinese companies climbing up that Fortune 500 ladder. You guys probably know the Mi, the Oppo, Huawei, in terms of Alibaba. They have all started their own program. And guess what they are doing? They're trying to get their businesses out there. And guess who they are interested in recruiting? A lot of time is they're looking for international talents with that sophisticated knowledge abroad. However, because at the core of those Chinese company, they are after all a Chinese company, they still want to hire international candidate with that Chinese savviness, helping them to develop the business abroad.
And what I'm hearing is a lot of how China is, I mean, in terms of the future. I mean, yeah, of course, in the past, schools in the Western world have dominated. But in terms of future, I guess the biggest client base for a lot of products right now is China. And I'm sure, and I think a lot of projections are leading towards China being the biggest market for a lot of things. So it completely aligns to the mission that you were just sharing with us. In terms of locations, because this is really interesting. I found it really interesting to go to the website and learn more about the locations. Would you shed a little light on the different campuses and what makes it different? Yeah.
So basically, I do have to say, if you browse through our website, we do have within China we have 3 main campuses in Shanghai, Beijing, and Shenzhen. And then abroad-wise, we have one in Ghana, strategically planned because of the relationship China right now is building with Africa, and also with Zurich. But I do have to say, if you look at this, is a really interesting dynamic. Our program, our school, in terms of the MBA program, is actually a lot smaller, very intimate in comparison to our executive program. We recruit, let's just say MBA profile, we recruit about 180 MBA students per year. But in terms of our executive programs, it's over 1,000. So I do have to say, with the full-time MBA program, it's gonna be mainly 100% in Shanghai campuses. However, this is, of course, we are what we call it overseas modules. Okay, with the overseas modules, yes, there's Japan, there's Germany, there's even IIMB in Bangalore, and then also we have over 30 different exchange partners. So, but just to answer your question, the other campuses are offered as executive programs.
Perfect. I think that's a great clarification for our viewers as well. And you lead us to the next topic of ours, the program itself.
Yes.
I think the biggest challenge a student faces after getting into a program is choosing a program. In terms of what are the features of a program that a school offers, the strengths, what is the core curriculum like? What is the teaching style in the classroom? So it would be lovely if you could share with us a little bit about what does the MBA program look like at CEIBS?
I'm going to take a more general term in terms of the teaching style. I do believe at this high level of education, most of the MBA program are going to look fairly much the same, but let me just take you through an overview.
Sure.
It's you can imagine the lecture hall is very auditorium style. Everyone has a 360 view. This style is definitely to encourage debate, encourage part. Most of the grades, it's uncommon. A lot of classes, if you look at the outline, more than 50% of the grades are going to be coming from your participation. So the the style is not just professor standing there with you absorbing. It's definitely for you, because you are coming from different industry, you are coming from different function. The way I look at a case study can be so much more different from someone coming from a finance background. It is that mixture of, I guess, discussion, friction we want to learn from. So that's our teaching style, which I think is pretty similar with most of the MBA program. And another thing is I want to encourage all the students to, if you're looking for a program, if you're looking through the ranking, if you're looking through Financial Times or Forbes or Business, it's going to be pretty much the same if you look at the top 30 schools. I do have to say what makes our program different definitely is because of its location. China being, I would say, you know, the past 30 years, the country itself has nurtured so many grassroots business leaders, which is really strange why our school has a dynamic where the executive program is a lot larger than the MBA program. It's a triangular, upside down triangular shape, which is why we offer a very special program called the mentorship program. So basically, every MBA from the beginning of their term 1 will receive a list, basically Excel list of all the MBA, EMBA executive programs. We call them mentors. You will see their function, what their background is. Basically, you will conduct a bidding. You bid for a mentor. So this is a mandatory program that every MBA will have to select a mentor. And then this mentor will be someone from the executive program. And then throughout the 18 months of your MBA journey, this is someone you can consult your life with, consult your career, consult every aspect you wish to discuss with. And throughout the 18 months, so you not only interact with this mentor, the school also hosts, let's just say, different baseball games, like sports events or barbecue events. So every event that would gather a bunch of mentors with a bunch of MBAs. So it's a way for you, we always say, to build relationship. Okay. So this is one unique thing. I think that's very different from rest of the program.
For sure,
out there.
Yeah. That sounds great. I mean, I think that's a great way to leverage the fact that the executive MBA program is much larger than MBA program, and that's definitely something you don't have access to in many schools. Sounds great. Which, I mean, you started painting the picture of how the student life looks like. And in terms of talking to your mentor, in terms of the classroom, in the auditorium style, a question that the students always think about it: how is a classic day like at the university while you're at the MBA program?
So
and we know that it's it looks very different from based on your choices. But if you could just take an example and run us through how a classic day looks like for the student.
Yes, I'm gonna have to spend a little bit more time in breaking down into basically just 3 sections. So let's just look at term 1. Basically, all your groups are going to be assigned by the school. We're going to mix you up by gender, by function, by industry, and by country, by language. So the most busy 2 terms, you will have class from 9 in the morning till 3:30, and then afterwards you receive at least 2 cases and more reading, and then a lot of presentations. I mean, expect at least 1 to 2 group presentations. And in addition, you are with a bunch of very highly talented, highly competitive people that you want to know. These are your classmates. These are your friends for life. You're going to spend a lot of time socialing as well. And then in addition, we have over 30 to 40 case studies throughout the 18 months, which starts in term 1. So I do believe term one, the biggest signature case competition would be the Roland Burger, okay, which every finalist gets sponsored by the school. The school will send the first and the second runner to Barcelona, every expense paid. This is a great way if you're interested in consulting, right? So this is in term one, term two. All the classes will be core classes, basic classes. Starting from term three, this is something very different. Okay, in Shanghai for the past 6 months, you have been to parties and social events. You have met your mentor. You have met alumni. You have met all your professors. This is a lot of time where you want to start taking part-time jobs, or maybe a research project for a company, for a professor, which now we're in term three. You're gonna notice the school is a lot quieter because this is where we say the elective classes are in. So based on the tempo, how fast that you want to design, tailor-made your curriculum. I know a lot of students are actually taking internships right now, okay? So basically, starting from the third term, things are a lot more self-controlled, okay? So it is up to you to fully leverage the resources or the new friendships that you have collected, and then choosing your own path. So this is another way I want to introduce. We have the standardized 18 months program. A lot of students also ask me, there's a 12 months, 1 year option. Entrepreneurs out there always ask that. What is the give and take? You finish 67 units of credits faster because you took classes faster. You finished the credit at a faster rate. But a lot of international students, I don't encourage this path because you need time to put yourself out there. I do encourage most of the students from India actually, I do encourage you to take your time and then do more extracurricular project instead of focusing on class so much.
Wow, okay. I love the fact that you can personalize from the third semester. And I guess, as you rightly said, the connections that the students make for the 6 months can be really, really fruitful. I'm sure you have a lot of international students out there. And a question that a lot of students have is, what about facilities in terms of the career center, the competitions? What are the different support mechanisms out there for the students, especially international?
Okay. So I actually think one of the best channel for job placement is actually, I would say, CDC, the career development consultants are definitely one way. All the MBA programs out there has a platform, we call it this, where all the recruiters will put their job. I do believe on an annual basis, we receive over 900 different job postings. This is a very standardized MBA. And then, I mean, in addition to that, I would say every month we have these things called executive forums. So actually last week, the Asia Pacific chairman of Medtronics actually just came to speak. The CEO for Coca-Cola, APAC, also came to speak. When they come to speak, it is a great way, of course, to learn about their challenges facing in China or in Asia. But usually when they come, they bring their different business unit leader, either marketing, business development, strategic, and also HR. So it is, I mean, through these events that the CDC career team put up that you join, mock interviews, okay? And then the second way I would always say, yes, the program team put up these cases. You have your few of the signature one I just mentioned, Roland Burger, also Nespresso, Nestle, sustainability, which is a very hot topic right now. And also in terms of Innovate China every year. I don't know if you guys use WeChat. Right now it's okay. It's put by Tencent. I actually had a classmate. He's this American boy from Seattle, used to work in Boeing, Kevin. He didn't speak much Mandarin, but the way he would pick on Mandarin is just always very funny. It's very buddy-buddy, very colloquial. He's a very likable person. So at the time of the case competition, I mean, I love him because he wasn't actually competing in the competition.
Okay.
He was just hosting. He was on stage with a microphone, you know, this white boy. He was a great host. As a competition host, he was actually invited. He was so well liked by Tencent. He was invited to host the final round in Boston. Okay. And then he got to spend so much time with the Tencent team. He got his internship. And then now I mean, usually the internship, we always say internship is a period for a candidate to explore.
Yeah.
And then naturally, he liked Tencent and he liked WeChat. He's currently right now the international business development team now. So this is always, I always say, case competition. There's so many aspects to expose yourself. Okay. And another great way is actually student life. I want to focus is the club activities. Okay. Let's just say if you're focused on being a consultant, okay, so then you run for the president of consulting club, and we do have every club is by demand mandatory. You have to host a big event each term, and then the funding will be supported by the program team. And then in order to put up a very well, you know, you want participant, you want to attract, so you got to be thinking what kind of content. So usually you will get access to the alumni. So who's going to be working from Mackenzie, from which batch? If I go approach them, what are they? What would they present? You know, these are all, I would say, opportunities for you to do more. But it also, it's a chance for you to go out there and knock on doors. And then the more you do, the more you'll get. It's always about how to contribute values, and people are smart. People that.
Wow, I think the viewers right now are like, okay, how do I get in? How do I apply to CEIBS? And and that's what I'm going to ask you next.
I do. What really attracted me is everything is very practical here. A lot of times what I say is, if you look at even our professor, basically they're not very research based. Everything is very market based, market driven.
Okay.
So if you see, I don't know if you heard about this business model, it's economy sharing. The idea came from Uber. It's a two major giant company right now in the bicycle industry. It's called Ofo and Mobike, and you don't actually hear these companies 3 years ago. It's very new. And then just a year ago, our strategy professor published a case study on Mobike versus Ofo. And then naturally, when you want to dig deep into a case study, you need to build up connection. You need to know the CEO level, and then you need to head to bottom how the operation works in order to have a solid case study. So this is what we say. A lot of our faculties are actually very well connected with the marketplace, with the companies out there. So in terms of admission, I would say the normal process, of course, we look at your GMAT or GRE in terms of letter recommendation, in terms of, I would like to focus for the candidates from India. We definitely want someone who now a lot of time we want to dig deep, is that if you have that motivation to be rooted in China. I'm going to be very honest with you. Before this webinar, I actually went to the CDC, the Career Development Team, and I was asking about the job placement. for the Indians. I know for my batch, 2016, it was 100% because they were all very hardworking. You know, you know your challenges. You know the difficulty of language. We don't expect you to learn Mandarin within 18 months, okay? Though the school will give you free Chinese lessons, okay? And I actually talked with the 2017, the most recent. If you download our career report, we had 9 Indian students. Basically, we had around 89%. So 8 out of 9 Indian students all received a job here in China 3 months within graduation. And the only one that didn't is because he rejected the offer. So I didn't go deep on why. I mean, I can always say go to our career report and get the number, but just like our school, I try to be more personal, and so I want to give real live examples. Okay.
That's great. That's great. I mean, just going back to admissions a little bit, is there a class profile that you can give us? Like, is there an average GRE scores or years of experience and stuff? That's some numbers on that.
Just to let you know, in terms of the profile, yes. So every year is about 180 students. And in order to keep that China depth, we do aim 60 to 65% of Chinese mainland students. So therefore, every year we do have that 30 to 35 international students. And then I would say within the internationals, we have to keep a balance between, so no one major country should over, let's just say, 14 students, okay?
Right.
So basically, this is the mixture. In terms of our average, the current batch, its average GMAT is 688.
Okay.
Okay. And then the working experience of 10 years.
Okay.
The average years. This is a profile actually because one of the things, our career switch rate is always the highest. We have over 85% of career switch. So most people that you'll meet among your batch are people that are wanting a change in their life.
Okay. That sounds great. That's a really diverse community you've built there. And I totally understand the need of rooting, sort of having a China depth. You've spoken about how important it is in terms of history and dedication for the school in China. Just a little question on financial aid and the application in general. Any particular part of application except the standard procedure that you would want to talk about? And in terms of financial aid, how is the support like, especially for international students?
Especially for internet, I would say about 35% of our total student body all receive we call it the merit scholarship. And this is the scholarship that without any additional application, so applicant will be automatically evaluated. As you apply, you will be given a score and benchmarked against the other applicants. And then this is what we call the merit scholarships to be given. I would have to say, look at a recent 2 to 3 years, the students from India are also entrepreneur-driven school. I do have to say, let's just say round one of the Indian students were actually rewarded with the entrepreneurship scholarship. I mean, I would say aim higher. Don't go for the diversity scholarship. I want to encourage. I want to encourage all the Indian students out there to actually aim for things like the merit scholarship, because we actually do get the average GMAT score from GMAC every year. Work hard your GMAT. Work hard on building a solid, relevant, China relevant career when you apply. These are the these are the things that we look for. We want to find that someone with that flexibility, you know, be agile.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. And just to a clarifying question on that, is the merit scholarship consideration equally done for all applicants? This
Yes.
in like okay.
Besides the fact, I did tell you the way we look at GMAT will be different by country.
Oh, okay.
Definitely.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Perfect. And I think that's been really, really helpful because especially because I can tell that you've just gotten out of the program because you could really give us almost like live action description of how the programs in the student life looks like. So thank you so much for that. Is there any final closing advice you want to leave our viewers and applicants with?
I mean, in terms, I actually think, because I've been to India a few times, I definitely think our school is still quite, not a lot of people is aware of our school. So right now, I actually just want to encourage everyone to personally reach out. If there's any question, you can definitely ask